What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam, I hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight. I hope you guys have all had a great Monday. Hope you just had a fan-freaking-tastic start to your week. I hope you guys are ready for an interesting stream tonight. We're going to be breaking down some community Dynasty rosters coming from our first ever Dynasty leagues for the Catch fam. So we've got 2 leagues to go through. 12-team leagues, Superflex leagues, tight end premium leagues. We play 3 wide receivers. It's going to be a good time. So if you guys are new to the channel, thank you so much for being here tonight. And please consider hitting that subscribe button, because then I will have 1 or 2 more subscribers on my YouTube channel than I had yesterday, and that would mean the world to me. And then I will be the best fantasy football YouTuber ever because of you. Whether you guys are new to the channel or not, hit that like button, because that will make me even better at YouTube in the algorithm. And most importantly, hop in the live chat. Let me know what's popping, guys. Let me know how everyone's doing. Typically, I would say any fantasy football topics you guys want to go over, throw in the live chat, which I guess you can still do, but I will be pretty actively staring at this screen going through teams. So, but yeah, any fantasy football topics you guys want to go over, redraft, dynasty, or best ball, any NFL topics, throw it in the live chat. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk some fantasy football. So, all right, we might as well not waste any time. Let's see who's in the live chat, and then let's hop right into this. This is going to be a fun stream. It is. I'm excited. So I know you guys have been waiting for this, and just kind of let the dust settle from our first 2 slow drafts. I mean, for those of you guys who don't know, we're running 4 Dynasty leagues this year, 2 Superflex leagues, and 2 single quarterback leagues. So like I said, for tonight's stream, we are going over the Superflex squads, because we've already gone over the first single quarterback league, and then the second single quarterback league is actually starting the draft their draft this Friday. So, all right, Heavy CMC, what's up, man? Hello, good to have you in the house. What are you up to, dude? Haven't seen you in the streams in a while. What's up, bro? Made for TV, always good to see you. Hope you are doing fantastic. Spencer, Smokey, Emil, Senor, Cinnabone, Cats, Doug, how's everyone doing? Thank you guys for being here tonight. All right. Like I said, let's not waste any time. So, league number 1. Okay. Apparently, I have a queue still set up. Okay. What we've got going on here. Superflex, 3 wide receivers, tight end premium. There's no 3rd round reversal in this league. It's a straight snake draft. Good amount of trades in this league. I don't know if I'm exactly going to break down the draft itself, because that would be kind of complicated, but let's just take a look here at what Godfather finished with. Well, you know what? I might want to actually look at, because some of you guys have dropped and picked up some players. So let's see here. Okay. Godfather, Patty Mahomes at quarterback. And Tua is the only other quarterback on this team, which is a little worrisome. I mean, yes, technically speaking, as we went over in our Underdog drafts last night, you don't have to superflex a quarterback, but you're just going to be at a disadvantage more than likely against your opponent on a weekly basis if you do not do so. So, yes, I like Tua. I do. Tua's going in his 4th years. Age 25. There are injury concerns, surrounding Tua, so we can't really discard that. So, in the Superflex League, am I completely comfortable with 2 quarterbacks? No, I probably want 4. I mean, number 3 doesn't have to be great. Number 4 doesn't even have to play this year. I want somebody there in case, So, don't get me wrong. If you have Mahomes, you have a huge advantage. But that's my first note. Najee Harris, got your guy. I mean, we all knew you were going to get Najee. I mean, I'm pretty sure if anyone else drafted Najee, we were going to have to kick them out of the league. DeAndre Swift, Dalvin Cook, Chase Edmonds. Remember that guy? Gus Edwards, Javonte. They're your running backs. I mean, like, I'm not going to do, like, a crazy extensive breakdown of running backs just because, like, I mean, let's face it, like, in this specific format, running back only holds so much merit, but I don't mind Najee as your RB1 with Swift backed up by Cook and Javonte. Edmonds and Gus are just kind of like bench pieces. I just realized this does not show Taxi Squad as well, which is kind of annoying. But nonetheless, running backs are probably fine here. Nothing crazy, but, you know, it is what it is, right? Okay. Amari Cooper, Jacoby Myers, Jerry Jeudy, DJ Chark, Rashee Rice. With D-Hop on the bench, Richie James, Calvin Austin. Okay. Yeah, I mean, wide receivers are a little worrisome. So if I remember the draft, I mean, don't get me wrong, Jeudy, Cooper, like I don't mind Rice in the 10th, who you traded for. D-Hop is like fine where you got me. I mean, wide receivers a little veteran-esque. So yeah, here's some of your Taxi Squad players. I mean, I like Puka. Trey Tucker's fine. I mean, you're a Vegas fan, so I wonder who your other Taxi Squad player is. 3 Taxi Squad spots for these leagues, by the way. So, I mean, yeah, wide receiver. Being that we're playing 3 wide receivers, it is full PPR, and there are 2 flex spots. I want to have a lot of confidence in my wide receivers. You know, I like Cooper. He's age 29 going into his 9th year. I mean, of course, we like D-Hop, but age 30 going into his 11th year. So you're really relying on Jeudy and really, I mean, Jacoby Myers is a big piece of this roster as well. But Rashee Rice, like, yes, I like the upside there. I get why you traded for him, having Patty, if he really does turn into something that's a valuable connection. But I was just seeing if I can check. I think you dropped your, I don't know who your other Taxi Squad players, but wide receiver slightly worse, I might say. Travis Kelce. I mean, I don't mind that you picked Kelce in the 3rd round. Purely because he had Mahomes. And honestly, like, I mean, you guys have heard me say it all offseason. If you're going to ride Kelce into his retirement in tight end premium league, like, I'm not going to knock you. So, I do like the fact that you got Noah Gray, though. I thought that was smart. Trey Conklin, Mike Gesicki. So, I would say this team is pretty much a win now team. You know, I mean, Myers is 26. Judy's 24. You got Rashee Rice. Javonte's pretty young, excuse me. Swift and Harris aren't too old. You know, Swift's 24. Harris 25. Harris is old for, you know, his years in the league. So, I mean, this team, let's take a look at your draft picks. You've got 2 first-rounders in the next 2 years. So 2 first-rounders 2024, 2 first-rounders in 2025. I don't know how you pulled that off, but that was smart. That helps this team a lot. Okay, but you have no other picks. No other picks in the next 2 years. But 2 firsts the next 2 years, hopefully we'll be able to get you through. So, yeah, I mean, I remember you trading for Rashee Rice, who Steven originally drafted. I don't know what else happened here. But all in all, I would say this is pretty much a win-now team. Especially, you know, the Mahomes to Kelce connection is huge for the squad. But I think as long as you manage this team correctly, things can work out over the years, which I think you will do. So, Cat says, go to the league tab and click the team name. You can see Taxi Squad picks. I thought that's what I just did. Huh. Oh, well, we'll figure it out. All right, Spencer. This team sucks. We can move along. All right, Jay Speezy. I'm just kidding. All right, so what did we come up with, Spence? I like your team, Spence. The green guys. Look at all these players with green on their jersey. And then you had to ruin it and start drafting players other colors on their jerseys. Okay, Jalen Hurts at quarterback with Ritter, Heineke, and Trask. This was definitely an interesting build because you really faded that second QB. Really, really. I mean, you have Atlanta's quarterback for at least next year locked up. But, I mean, if Ritter is an absolute disaster, like, I don't think they're going to really bank on that, young offense they have with Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, just being thrown away. Like, I think they're going to go out and try and get a franchise guy. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, where you picked Ritter, you picked him over Mac Jones. That's probably about the only other quarterback who's available who I would have considered. I mean, Matthew Stafford is there as well, but if you believe in Ritter, I think that's okay. But you're taking a big gamble at that second quarterback spot for sure. Breece Hall, ETN, I know you're happy about both those guys. They're perfectly fine. Raheem Mostert, Devon A-Chain, so you probably have most of Miami's backfield locked up. You're pretty light at running back. But I know you have a lot of faith in Hall and ETN, so I'm not going to knock you there. And I like A-Chain on the bench. A.J. Brown, Calvin Ridley. Is this the league that you traded Garrett Wilson for A.J. Brown in? Is that what happened? Guess I can check. No, you just drafted A.J. Brown. Okay. So, obviously, Brown and Hurts, that's huge. It's a great connection to have locked up. Brown's 25, going in his 5th year. Hurts 24, going into his 4th year. That's good. I'm sure you're happy about that. Calvin Ridley, Deontay Johnson, Gabe Davis. You like Gabe Davis still. You're a Gabe Davis guy. Zay Jones, Michael Gallup, John Mechie, Marvin Mims. Okay, I think your wide receivers are fine. I like Mims hiding on your bench. Are these the last 3? No, that doesn't make sense. Never mind. Ignore everything I was about to say. I was going to say, are these last 3 taxi squad? But then I looked over here. I'm like, no, because Zach Ertz. That wouldn't make sense. Your wide receivers are fine, man. T-Hawk and Kittle at tight end premium league. With Ferguson. I like Ferguson. I do. One of these, everyone out there is, sure that Shoemaker is going to be the guy. But I think Ferguson and Hendershot still have a chance. Young guys in their 2nd year. So, I like this team all right, Spence. You've got 2 first-rounders next year. You have all of Stephens' picks. So you were able to trade around and still get 2 first-rounders next year, a 2nd-rounder, and a 3rd-rounder. And you acquired a 2025 2nd-rounder. So you're looking pretty good right there, man. Yeah, I think you're in a fine position, Spence. You can kind of take this team in either direction. I mean, it is interesting that you're flexing a second tight end. Your biggest question mark is Desmond Ritter. You can, if Gabe Davis is a stinker, like, you can get that figured out. But I think your bench is all right. Your biggest question mark is your second quarterback, straight up. But you have a very, very strong starting roster for the most part, even if you have 2 tight ends in there. Spence says, I have Tank Bigsby and Izzy on the taxi squad. Yeah, I don't know. Hold on. This is what I need to do. If I did not preface this at the beginning of the stream, I am very bad at Dynasty, fantasy football, and just fantasy football, and navigating anything related to fantasy football. Yeah, why can't I just... why can I only look at my team here? Maybe if I just keep clicking right here, something will happen. Because this shows the taxi squad and the draft picks. I mean, that would be very, very helpful. But will prevail. All right, on to Speezy. Wait, Spencer says, click the names in the standings tab. Okay, where's Speezy? Oh, look at that. That's why we keep Spencer around. All right, Speezy, what did you do? Allen at quarterback, Cousins in the super flex spot, Aiden O'Connell and Hall on your taxi, but really banking on Captain E like that Kirk Cousins next year. Yeah, you drafted 4 quarterbacks, but 2 of them were your last 2 picks. C-Mac Eckler. I mean, you guys already know my thoughts on the quarterback situation here. C-Mac Eckler, Jacobs, Gibbs. You went all in on running backs. Madison, Michael Carter, Pierre Strong, Kyron Williams, Ingram. I mean, you're loaded up at running back at the end of the day. That was definitely part of your strategy. I mean, you took C-Mac in the 2nd, Gibbs in the 3rd, Eckler in the 4th, Jacobs in the 5th, Madison in the 7th. Pierre Strong, you got off the waiver wire, so yeah, can't say anything bad about the running backs. I mean, I want that value at wide receiver, but it'll certainly be interesting to monitor this team and see how it works out being so heavy at the running back position. All right, Diggs, Keenan Allen, Kadarius Toney, Paris Campbell, DPJ, Romeo Dobbs, Alec Pierce. I mean, your wide receivers aren't bad, but I mean, Diggs is 29, going in his 9th year, a little bit older than sometimes people remember. Allen's 31, going to his 11th year. Tony's obviously pretty young, but he is also the master of injuries. I mean, I like DPJ, Dobbs, and Pierce on the bench. I don't really mind Paris Campbell. You took him in the 15th round. He was your last wide receiver selected, so I mean, it could be somebody you end up dropping. Who knows? Jonathan Mingo on your taxi squad. I mean, I know you're kind of in a tough spot here. I mean, I get why Ingram's not on your taxi squad because of James Conner's injury history. But I don't know. I maybe put Kyron Williams on your taxi personally and move Jonathan Mingo up because you'll probably need the wide receiver depth over the running back depth. But wide receivers are a little bit worrisome. We'll take a look at the tight ends, though. Chicken Conquo and Trey McBride. I mean, I like both of those guys. Don't get me wrong. You don't really have a for sure stud at tight end, but man, those are 2 guys you hear everyone talking about it takes some time for tight ends to get going in their career. Those are 2 guys you could absolutely elevate at the tight end position. So I'll take it. All right. Wow, I did not realize Speezy went so hard at trading picks. I mean, wow, Speezy, you traded more than I did. Speezy's the true F them picks team. No way. Yeah. No picks. 2024 3rd and no 2025 picks. Speezy, this is dangerous territory. I mean, you might get in a position where you're going to try and offload one of those running backs. So, quick notes. I mean, wide receiver, you're going to be needing to build young depth. You're pretty loaded at running back. You might be moving on from a running back. I'm okay with your tight ends, even if you don't have a for sure stud in there. I like both the young guys you have, and you really need Kirk Cousins to hopefully play another 2 years. And there are rumors that the Vikings may be moving on. So, I don't mind the 2 quarterbacks on your taxi squad, but I'd also consider moving Jonathan Mingo off your taxi squad, putting a running back on your taxi squad. But all right, okay. I mean, I guess I'll do your guys' team. Well, the way I'll do it is I'll do your guys' teams, and then I'll do mine last, since nobody cares about my team. All right, JW, are you in here? Are you lurking around? Maybe, maybe not. All right. Herbie at quarterback. with Garoppolo, Tannehill, and C.J. Stroud. So we should probably talk about this. By the way, you have an open bench spot, J-Dubs. Because how did this? I don't even remember what happened in this trade. But oh my gosh! So okay, J-Dubs moved up in the first round. Cinnabon moved back. J-Dubs got Jefferson, correct? Oh my gosh, I'm all over the place. Yes. J-Dubs was sitting with Stroud as his starter. And a little blockbuster trade went down between Tox and J-Dubs. Yes, so J-Dubs in the chat. Mark Andrews was part of that trade. When did Mark... Where is Mark? There he is. So the 4.5 was originally a J-Dubs pick and was part of this trade for Herbert. So if I am semi-smart, I can probably figure this out. So you sent a first rounder and Mark Andrews? No, 2 first rounders. J-Dub says 2024 first, 2025 first. Did you guys trade at a different point? So there's also 2024 second in there. And Mark Andrews was part of the trade as well, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, big blockbuster trade. J-Dubs ends up acquiring Justin Herbert. Kind of saved you at the quarterback position. I mean, Garoppolo and Tannehill, like you're just looking for somebody to fill in for now, and you're betting on Stroud. I think I'm okay with that. I mean, at least you got Herbert one way or another. All right, Ramondre, J.K. Dobbins, Gibson, Jeff Wilson. You got Chandler in the taxi squad, and Kamara. Almost missed Kamara. Like, once again, I mean, I really like Ramondre Stevenson. I think Dobbins is completely fine as well. I like Gibson on the bench. You've got Kamara, you got Wilson, you got some veterans to rotate in. I think that is fine. You know, ideally, you'd like to see a rookie sprinkled in here maybe, but I think you're fine. J.J. Waddle, Mike Williams, Treylon Burks. You're a Treylon Burks guy. I mean, this is a player that you're really high on, so I think your starting wide receivers look fine. Darius Slayton, Darnell Mooney, Rashad Bateman. I like the bench wide receivers as well. Randall Robinson. Yeah, wide receivers look good to me. I mean, good news is you have JJ and Jalen Waddle on this team. Cole Kmet, I mean, say no more. Kate Otten, Irv Smith. I think tight ends look fine too. Mainly because and you got Higgins on your taxi squad. Higgins is an interesting pick. But I like Otten. I really do. And you guys know I love Cole Kmet. So looking at your picks, got a 2024 second, 2024 third. You've got my first rounder 2025 and Steven's first rounder 2025, as well as a 2025 second. So I think you're doing okay there. I don't think you sacrificed too much. I think you're fine there. So yeah, I think this team's just fine, man. I think you can navigate just fine with this team. I mean, my biggest concern is like if CJ Stroud sucks, then you know, you're in a tough spot there. But I think everything else looks fine to me. All right. Tox is up next. Lord help us. All right. Are these... That's right. Gosh, Tox. Let's just start with the fact that Tox has 4 first rounders next year, 2 second rounders, a third. Yeah, 4 first rounders next year. Just keep that in mind. Stafford, Bryce Young, Clayton Tune, Baker at quarterback. I mean, honestly, it could be worse. You just really need Stafford to be healthy, and you really need Bryce Young to have. I mean, I don't know if he's going to have a great rookie year, but you need him to have a decent rookie year. So it's. I mean, you went for the picks. I'm okay with that. We'll just leave it at that for now. But Nick Chubb, Cam Akers, Pacheco, Brian Robinson, your running backs are pretty good. Isaiah Spiller on taxi. Rashad Penny, I missed him. Debo, Lockett, Hollywood. Oh, yes, I have Tajay Spears. Don't know I missed him. Rondell Moore, George Pickens, Downs, Boutte. Wide receivers look fine. I mean, Boutte is pretty worrisome. He might get released, but we'll find out. Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Higbee, Brenton Strange I like. You also have Charlie Jones, our wide receiver. I mean, I think your tight ends, I mean, honestly, your team looks pretty much just fine. Yeah, like, actually, your team's really not looking that bad. I mean, you wanted to start 2 tight ends. That was like your thing. So, yeah, the biggest issue is quarterback. And it could end up being just fine. Stafford could have just, I mean, when you look at what he was doing last year before he got hurt, it was pretty troublesome. But if he has an average year or can get back to like just close to what he did in 2021, and then Bryce Young has a decent rookie year, like, your biggest question is how fast and well does Bryce Young develop to an NFL quarterback? So, but the bigger thing is you have 4 first-rounders in the next 2 years. So, like, you're going to be able to fix whatever issues you have more than likely. All right, let's move along, Talks. Mr. Sarcastic. T-Lock, quarterback. Lance as their QB2. Carr, quarterback. And he got Tanner McKee. I kind of like Tanner McKee, but he's not going to start anytime soon. I mean, let's be realistic. I think this is probably going to be Carr over Trey Lance, but we'll see. I mean, quarterbacks are okay, mainly because you have Trevor Lawrence, you can super flex Carr, and Lance still gives you some upside, right? Running backs, JT, James Cook, Evan Hull, CEH. A little light at running back. I mean, almost, I don't put a ton of value in a running back, but almost light to the point where I am a little bit worried. Okay, Devontae Adams, Chris Olave, Quentin Johnston, Nico Collins, Hutchinson, Tillman, Terrace Marshall, James Palmer, Jalen Tolbert, Washington, and Justin Ross at wide receiver. I think your wide receivers are okay. Ingram, Michael Mayer. I don't know how confident I'm going to be in flexing Michael Mayer. Isaiah Likely. Your tight ends are fine, but kind of your problem is you got to kind of figure out who else can you flex right here. I mean, it could be Mayer, but probably don't want it to be. So there's some holes on this team for sure. But let's look at what picks you have coming up. 2 second-rounders next year, 2 first-rounders 2025, 2 second-rounders 2025, 3 third-rounders in 2025. I mean, like, you did okay with your picks for sure. So I think you can address, whatever problems come up for you. I just think overall startable flex option / wide receiver. Like Adams, Olave, Quentin Johnston's your core. The verdict's out on Nico Collins. A lot of people like him, but we still got to see who Stroud develops the best with. There's enough wide receivers on that team that it might not be Nico Collins. Tight ends are fine. Ingram, Mayer, Likely. Yeah, I mean, running back depth and startable flex options. Hopefully wide receivers be my biggest notes. Senior Cinnabon. No, I'm not reviewing team names. All right, Justin Fields. I don't know what's up with my throat all of a sudden. Mac and cheese, baby. Kenny Pickett, Bailey Zappi. I like your quarterbacks. I do. I mean, you kind of got your guy early. You kind of faded quarterback. I think it worked out for you. Do you get a tremendous amount of upside right now to Mac Jones or Kenny Pickett or a benched Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi starting? Not really. But you probably get just enough. And if you believe in Pickett or Mac Jones, which I would say you probably believe in Pickett more, that's okay. Get a young guy. A little bit older for a second-year player, but it's okay. And I'm a Fields believer, and you're a Fields believer as well. I'm good at that. I would hope you're a Fields believer, because you are a Bears fan. All right, Dameon Pierce, Miles Sanders, Roschon Johnson, Kareem Hunt, Eli Mitchell, my boy Kenneth Gainwell. Yeah. Deuce Vaughn on the taxi squad. So, for me, you're in a position where you're just starting two running backs. That's fine. Roschon Johnson, a good bench piece. Mitchell and Gainwell, a good bench piece. We'll see what happens with Kareem Hunt. Deuce Vaughn, a good taxi squad option. Wide receivers are great. CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, Metcalf, DJ Moore, Juju. Okay, I mean, specifically Lamb, Higgins, Metcalf, DJ Moore, I'd be pretty happy with. I think Juju's fine. Full PPR is a flex option. Still pretty young, 26. You have Mac Jones. Maybe you get something there. I like A.T. Perry. Good bench option. You got Bobby Trees, Greg Dortch. These are guys that could end up, maybe Perry on your taxi squad could end up being dropped. You also have Tyler Scott. He might be someone you consider moving up before the season starts. So you have options. Tight ends, David Njoku, Noah Fant, and Washington. So I can live with that. You get two guys who are still pretty young, and Fant at age 25, as well as Njoku at age 26, and you get a rookie on your taxi squad, so who could potentially end up being a connection for Kenny Pickett. So I think your team looks fine, man. Let's take a look at your picks. You have a first rounder next year. You have 2 second rounders, including one of mine, and you have a third rounder. No second rounder in 2025. I think you'll survive. I like your wide receiver room. I think your running backs are fine. Tight ends are fine. Quite frankly, you don't have a ton of upside at your second quarterback, but I still think you're okay. I would say you're doing all right, man. Okay. We're doing the Superflex Leagues number 1 and 2, Cats. I've already kind of gone through anyone who asked for the single quarterback league. I've already kind of gone through teams there. So for those of you guys asking, yes, we will be getting to league number 2. It's going in order. Sorry, by the way, my mic was not set up how it was supposed to be. So if my audio sounded weird, I'm sorry. And no, I will not give you Freiermuth ever. Senior Cinnabon. All right, heavy CMC. Let's see what we got. It's a polarizing draft pick in the second round with Daniel Jones at 2.4 in this draft. So you got Danny Dimes, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, Zach Wilson at quarterback. I mean, you guys know what I always say. Go out and get your guys if you had the conviction. So when you pick Daniel Jones, Young, Tua, Prescott, Stroud were there. I may have gone Bryce Young or Tua there. But you have Daniel Jones. What can I say? I mean, ultimately, your quarterback room is fine for the short term. I'm not a Zach Wilson believer. I know there are people rostering him, refusing to drop him, getting him dirt cheap. He's going to sit behind Aaron Rodgers. Maybe at some point in his career he plays somewhere similar to Geno Smith. I'm not I'm not going to be the guy waiting on Zach Wilson. So, but also we know that Aaron Rodgers, time with the Jets probably going to be short. So maybe more like another Jordan Love type situation. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Nonetheless, are you a Giants fan, Heavy CMC? Just wondering. All right, Barkley, Mixon at running back, Damian Harris, Eric Gray. Yeah, a lot of Giants on this team. McIntosh and Tucker on the taxi squad. I mean, I can live with it. I mean, we got to find out what's happening with Mixon, but... All right, Jamar Chase, JSN, Jordan Addison, Odell. Laviska Shenault. Hodgin, Shakir. It's definitely an interesting team. And then Justin Shorter on your taxi squad. I mean, JSN and Addison, like you kind of went after them pretty early on. Well, I don't want to say early on, but like you went on and you got 2 rookies after getting Chase like right away. So I think for the long term, like these wide receivers could set you up for success at the position. Tight ends, Darren Waller, Ertz, Dulcich, Bellinger. So many Giants on this team. I think your tight ends look fine. I mean, I like Bellinger and Dulcich. Waller's okay as long as you have depth, which you do. And Zach Ertz. And you have Shoemaker. Yeah, I mean, like, I think you're setting okay there. You did draft 5 tight ends, which was, I guess none of us noticed. We have to redo the draft. Heavy CMC drafted 5 tight ends. There was supposed to be a cap at 4. I mean, this team is definitely interesting. Let's take a look at your draft picks. Yeah. Just 2 third-rounders next year. I mean, slightly worrisome. This team's like not really a win-now team, but could be if JSN and Addison are really producing like most people think they're going to. So I would say this team's basically win now. I mean, this is going to be an interesting team to follow this season. All right, let's just dismantle Steven's team. Steven had a great start. I mean, Lamar Jackson, Anthony Richardson, Devonta Smith, Tyreek Hill, even, Pollard, McLaurin. Like, this was all fine. I mean, I probably wouldn't have picked McLaurin here. I would have gone, maybe Zay Flowers, just someone young, or even maybe just gone Dotson at 5.10 and then seen what running backs. Like, he could have gone Ramondre here at 6.3. But it was still a good start, especially Jackson, Richardson, Devonta Smith. But then some things started happening. So, Lamar Jackson at quarterback, Anthony Richardson, Russell Wilson. I still like Steven's quarterback room. And he's got Dorian Thompson-Robinson on his taxi as well, for what that's worth. But I like Steven's quarterback room. Tight end, he's got Goddard. Why do I feel like Steven only has 1 tight end? Hayden Hurst and Jelani Woods. So, I mean, he is a Colts fan, so I guess he's happy about that. Tight ends are a little worrisome because I just think the Colts have so many tight ends. I mean, I know that Woods is probably the most athletic, but I also kind of like Will Mallory. I mean, but he does have Goddard for the short term. So Steven basically tried to morph this into a win-now team by trading all of his picks, which is what I did. But Steven just ended up trading for interesting players at times. So Tony Pollard, Aaron Jones, James Conner, Pirine, Jamal Williams, Monty Singletary at running back. I mean, Steven definitely is going to have an opportunity to compete right away. I mean, we can't really deny that that's a pretty solid running back room for the short term. We just have to look at this team as a pure short-term team. Tyreek Hill, Devonta Smith, Scary Terry, Godwin. This is primary wide receivers with Brandon Cooks, Cortland Sutton. I wouldn't draft Chase Claypool if my life depended on it right now, but Steven did. Thornton was like a semi-logical pick for him when he drafted him because he needed young players. Jaden Reed is on his taxi, as well as Wicks. 2 Green Bay rookies. So I do think Steven has a shot to compete right away. I do. But I think what was turning heads is like when he did trade, he picked up Chris Godwin. You know, like, I mean, Debo, Kirk, they're not the youngest guys. Ridley, Cooper, Deontay, I just feel like, I don't know. But, you know, traded up, and Godwin's 27, then traded up and got Aaron Jones, who's 28. You know, I mean, the fact that he got Monty here, if he got like A-Chain or Roshan Johnson or Kendre Miller or A.J. Dillon, like even Javante's, oh no, Javante's gone, I'm sorry. But I mean, he wanted to go win now. I just think when he did trade, it was kind of turning heads, like James Conner in the 13th, Jamal in the 15th. But I do think we have to admit that Steven definitely has an opportunity to compete right away. You know? I think that's kind of the reality of this build. But when you look at his picks, he's got a second. I mean, you know, he's still got a second and a third next year. That's the good news. Got 2 seconds and a third in 2025, so no first for the next 2 years. So there's still enough smidges of youth here that Steven could hold on. But he might be holding on, like, pretty intensely. Yeah, Claypool's probably the worst pick for Steven, honestly. But like I said, I think we have to admit that Steven does have an opportunity to compete right away. And that's what he wanted. All right, let's move on. Taylor Gang. Trust the process. Deshaun Watson at QB, Mike White, Kyler Murray. All right, so now we look at Taylor Gang's team, who is definitely a long-term team. 2 firsts next year, second, a third, and 2 seconds, 2025, 2 thirds, 2025 with the first. So Watson at QB, Mike White, Kyler Murray, Sam Howell. Sorry, I missed Sam Howell. And Will Levis is on this team. How did that happen? He picked up Mike White, I think. Yeah, he picked up Mike White. Fair enough. Warren, Chase Brown. Running back with Kelly, Evans, Kendre Miller, Drake London, Michael Pittman, Jahan Dotson, Sky Moore, Elijah Moore, J-Mo, Trey Palmer, Chris Rodriguez, and Lou Nicholas, also at running back. So if you can't tell, I mean, this is a long-term team. It's a long-term team. Kincaid, Jawan Johnson, Kraft, and Kuntz at tight end. So, I mean, I don't mind this type of build. This is a build, like, if you don't win a lot next year, you're like, okay. But this team still has an opportunity to compete. Running back's probably the biggest issue for you. But I think outside of that, this team could compete. But right now, you're super flexing Jawan Johnson, which is obviously a mismatch. You know, you need a healthy Kyler. I mean, Sam Howell's going to be in there for you. But, I mean, like your team name says, trust the process. There's not really a lot to go over here. You're playing this for the long term, which is completely okay. I mean, overall, we just had so many different strategies within these drafts. It was crazy. Okay, Tommy. Charlie, what's going on, man? Colin, what's going on, man? So, Colin, we are just purely reviewing our first 2 Super Draft leagues of the year. But if you do want a roster review, you can submit it on our Discord, which is free to join in the description down below. And I'll probably be doing more of these where you guys can just submit your rosters and I'll go over them because I know a lot of channels out there do that. So we'll probably have more of these coming in the future, Colin. But for tonight, we're just going over our first 2 community dynasty drafts. But thank you for asking. All right, Tommy was at the 1.12 and faded quarterback. Let's see how it worked out for him. Jared Goff. Jordan Love, 2 guys he really liked. But that is it, other than Stenson Bennett and Hendon Hooker on the taxi squad. Bijan, Kenneth Walker. I know you're happy about that. I would be too. Foreman, Chuba, Khalil Herbert, Tyler Algier, Zach Charbonnet. I actually like the running back room. Yeah, and Bijan and Kenneth being in your starting lineup is a good thing. Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, Mike Evans. Al Lazard, Jalen Hyatt, Tank Dell. I mean, you're really relying on Mike Evans and Michael Thomas, which makes me a little queasy, but Wilson and Watson's obviously good. Lazard was a fine depth piece. White and Dell were good selections for you. Wilson's perfectly fine on the taxi squad. Tight ends, Dalton Schultz, Sam Laporta, Taysom Hill. So that's fine. I don't like the fact that you're having to flex one of them. So, I mean, you kind of got in a tough spot. I don't think that going Goff and Love is like going to ruin you necessarily. But some of your late round pieces just kind of worry me. Like, Michael Thomas being a question mark, Mike Evans at the end of his career, probably Adam Thielen at the end of his career, Jefferson and Schwarnick. Like, I don't even know if they're on your team anymore. Yeah, they're not. I don't know. There's just a couple missing pieces here, which can get worked out over time. Let's look at your, let's see, no first rounder next year, but 2 seconds, 2 thirds. So, yeah, I mean, I think the biggest issue is like Goff and Love have to perform for you. I like Goff, don't get me wrong, and Love I think has the opportunity to do so, but like it just has to happen for you. And then you're going to have to find a way to really keep these flex positions relevant because a tight end isn't always going to do it for you. But you get a potential stack with Goff, hopefully. Mike Evans is fine. But for how long is the question, When you got Lazard, you got Hyatt, you got Dell. You have opportunity there. You got Jarbs. You got Seattle's backfield locked up. So, ultimately, I still think the pieces are here, but it might take you a year or two unless everyone stays healthy and absolutely hits. Don't get me wrong. Michael Thomas, I don't have faith in him, but you could put Lazard here. And, let's say Charbs, Hyatt, or Dell becomes a startable player. Like, things could work out. I could be wrong. But Bijan, Walker, Wilson, Watson, this foundation, even with hopefully Schultz, Goff, Laporta to a degree, like, you have a pretty good foundation. But I just think that there could be you could be in a position where you're going to have to do some work over the next year or two. All right, there's League One. Let's roast my team, baby. All right, League One, I went all in. I traded like all my picks. I don't know why this happened because I had a really good start to this draft with Burrow, St. Brown, and Prescott, and then I just got wild. I mean, frankly, Burrow, St. Brown, Prescott, Kupp, Ayuk was a great start. Then I just got wild with it. Klondike, could you explain what the purpose of taxi roster spots are? Yes, they're just, it's different amongst different leagues. They can be just rookies, can be rookies and second-year players, can be rookies and up to third-year players. It can be a number of things. For our specific leagues, it's rookies and second-year players can be on your taxi squad. Your taxi squad is locked once the season starts, so you can adjust it throughout the offseason. And basically, those players just stay on your roster until the season starts. You can move them off your roster, but you have to drop a player in order to do so. Zay Flowers will not be on my taxi squad by the time the season starts. I just have not figured out what I'm going to do. Okay, like I said, I liked my start to this draft a lot, and then I just went... Like I said, I'm trying to give you guys different strategies, different perspectives. If you do this, this is what could happen. And in this league, I just went stupid. Okay. Joe Burrow at quarterback with Prescott and Brock Purdy, and I got a little sprinkle Sammy D in there because why not? I think that was my last pick. Yep. So I'm fine at quarterback, I think, because I believe in Brock Purdy. If you don't believe in Brock Purdy with Prescott at QB2, you could argue otherwise. That's fine. Derrick Henry, Rashad White. I'm not going to break down my team super extensively, by the way. A.J. Dillon, McKinnon, Zeke at running back with Jerome Ford and Dwayne McBride on the taxi squad. Cooper Kupp, Amon-Ra, Brandon Ayuk, Christian Kirk, Tyler Boyd, Curtis Samuel, KJ Osborne, Rashid Shaheed, and Zay Flowers at wide receiver. Pat Freiermuth at tight end. Gerald Everett, Dawson Knox at tight end. So, this is a win now team. When we look at my picks, I'm in a bad spot. One pick next year, a third rounder, a second and third rounder in 2025. Not good. Not good. But, if things start to go south, overall, this team is actually still pretty young. Burrow's 26, White's 24. We know Henry and Kupp are old. St. Brown's 23, Ayuk is 25, Freiermuth is 24, Dillon's 25, Kirk's a little bit older, but still only 26. Prescott's older than you'd think. He's 29, but Purdy's young if he does work out. Shaheed and Osborne and Curtis Samuel. Wide receiver going to be pretty volatile, but they're still there. Knox isn't super old. I get it. I know what you guys are going to say. But I still think Knox is going to get some targets, has that chemistry with Josh Allen. Then McBride, Flowers, and Ford. I still feel like there's enough pieces here. Things go south. I'm not completely screwed. But I went all in. So there's a roster if you go all in. And I also, keep in mind, I just went out and got guys that I like. So... You could have drafted different players here. When I got Henry, I was like, I'm kind of surprised he's still available, so I just took him. Traded for Rashad White, had to have him. Traded up for Christian Kirk and Brock. So here's what happened here is I really traded up to draft Zay Flowers, but I was looking at J-Dubs, and I really thought he was going to take a quarterback here, so I went ahead and took Purdy off the board, especially since Trey Lance had just gone. And I know J-Dubs kind of likes Purdy, and I know he likes Pickett. And I know he likes Lance. So those guys are gone. I got a little nervous. So I took Purdy off the board because when I was looking at J-Dubs' team, I did not feel like he was going to take a wide receiver. So that's kind of what happened there. Reason why I took Purdy before Flowers. I really traded up for Flowers, but I got nervous about Purdy. So that's what happened there. All right. There's League 1. Let's get on to League number 2. Johnny Edwards. Okay, how did we do this? League standings. There we go. I figured it out. All right, Patty Mahomes. Russ Baker. And, yeah. Those are your quarterbacks. Probably going to be super flexing Russell. There was a lot of trades. Look at this draft board. It hurts my eyes. This league, you guys traded so much before and during the draft and a little bit after. Quarterbacks are okay, but you're probably going to be drafting one sooner rather than later. Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones, DeAndre Swift, pretty heavy at running back. Gus Edwards on the bench. And Charbs. Running backs are fine. They're fine. Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Cooper, as an Amari Cooper, Jonathan Mingo, Tyler Boyd, Campbell, Chenault, Schwarenick. Boutte is on the bench, as well as Deuce Vaughn and Sean Tucker. I mean, running backs look completely fine. Dalton Schultz at tight end with Zach Ertz and Dawson Knox. So, got a lot banking on Dalton Schultz there. I mean, this team, what are your draft picks? Yeah. No first rounder next year, but that's honestly not as bad as I thought it'd be. Don't remember who you traded up to get Charbs or Jones, Russ, Cup. You had a lot of trades on the board. But have like all your picks. So, I mean, your team is like pretty good. I mean, you're kind of in a win now spot. Your bench isn't fantastic. Mingo, Russell, Knox. Everyone else has concerns, in my opinion. Your taxi squad's fine. Boutte is kind of concerned, but for having like all your picks, I actually think you're in a pretty good spot, actually. I wouldn't feel too worried for the time being. Made for TV _ Josh Allen at quarterback. Cousins, Garoppolo, Trask. Yeah, quarterback kind of got faded. No, quarterback got drafted pretty aggressively. That's right. But you and Johnny kind of faded quarterback. C-Mac, Taylor, Barkley, Madison. Yeah. Malik Davis. Okay. Pretty light at running back. Relying on, but I mean, you have C-Mac, like you drafted running backs early. C-Mac, JT, Barkley, and even Madison in the 8th. So Adams, Tony, Michael Thomas. Whew, that scares me. Tony and Thomas injuries. Adams old. It's my review. KJ Osborne, Shakir, Ross, Quentin Johnston's on this roster. J-Mo's on this roster. That helps. Oh, you haven't moved players into the taxi yet. Michael Mayer, Freiermuth. Tight ends look fine. Even if you only have 2, I'm okay with those 2 guys. So this team's interesting. Wide receiver is a big worry for me. Quarterback depth, you're going to need it after Cousins is gone. What are your... No first rounder next year. No 2 third rounders next year. No first rounder. That's not too bad. But wide receiver is the big issue on this squad, in my opinion. Everything else is fine for now. Smokey the Cat. Jalen Hurts at quarterback with Tua and Mike White and Kenny Pickett. That's a good quarterback room. Hurts, Pickett, Tua with Tua's backup. Kamara, Cook, Edmonds. Ronald Jones still exists? I didn't even know Edmonds still existed. Donta Foreman, Minnesota running back. Colts running back. Ingram, Evan Hoole. Running backs are pretty concerning, Smokey. But your wide receivers are good. Amon-Ra, Waddle, Higgins, London, the Doobie, Romeo Dobbs, Gallup, Claypool. Just dropped Claypool. Bellinger, Musgrave at tight end with Njoku. I mean, running backs worrisome if, Kamara's got his situation. Cook's a question mark right now, but they could be fine. Your bench running back players concern me. But it's also just running back. Wide receivers are good. Tight ends are good. Quarterbacks are good, Smokey. No first rounder next year. No third rounder. 2024 second. Gosh, we just threw around draft picks like they were garbage. Sorry. Matthew Stafford. I don't know why I just said cat. All right, Herbert at quarterback. T-Law quarterback, just redonkulous. Tannehill's on this team as well. Monty Mitchell, CH, Kareem Hunt, Jerome Ford, Spiller. Yeah, running back's a little worrisome. Roshan's on your taxi. We do, while we're looking at this team, 3 first-rounders next year, 2 second-rounders, 2 third-rounders next year, 4 2025 first-rounders, 2 2025 second-rounders, 2 2025 third-rounders. So keep that in mind. You know, this team is allowed to have issues this year because how did you even end up with this many picks? Because originally you were like just across the top of the draft board. That's what you did. And you just traded good players. But you also have the foundation of Herbert with T-Law. I don't think that there's a single team across any league, any of the Superflex leagues, that has a better QB1, QB2. Then you have CeeDee Lamb, Kyle Pitts to kind of add on to that foundation. Potentially Jordan Addison. You have some other young players here, Monty Mitchell, Bateman, Sky Moore. So, you know, I'm just going to kind of leave it at the fact that you have so many draft picks over the next 2 years that this draft didn't particularly matter. The fact that you came out with Herbert, T-Law, and all those draft picks, CeeDee Lamb, Kyle Pitts, I'd feel okay, man. Michael, are you out there? Andrea, hello. How are you doing? All right. Bryce Young at QB, CJ Stroud at QB. Whew. I mean, just keep in mind, Michael's in the single quarterback league as well. One of them, and his team, he did kind of the opposite and has an absolutely ridiculous team. Also, Taylor Heineke's on this team. I somehow missed him. But wow, you have no picks, bro. How do you have no picks? I mean, you have a first next year in 2000. You have 1 pick in the next 2 years. How did that happen? You have Jacobs, Javonte, Rashad White, Michael Carter. Wow. Metcalf, McLaurin, Pickens, Curtis Samuel, Palmer, Shaheed, Hyatt. All at wide receiver. Okay. Kittle, Johnson, Dolchich, Hurst. So, like I said, a pretty heavy quarterback draft. You went with 2 rookies. And then after that, it was just kind of like a scramble to get another quarterback. You just end up with Heineke. Where did all your picks go? You just traded up for like Kittle, McLaurin, Pickens, Jacobs. Okay. Michael, where are your picks? I mean, I guess this team is basically win now, but you have to have Young and Stroud perform. And that's the worrisome part, bro. I mean, like, I would have gone with this strategy, which I don't know if this is what you intended for, but like if you'd gone Tua and Daniel Jones, for example, Tua and Jared Goff, then you'd be in a little bit of a different situation. And like, I don't doubt Stroud or Young necessarily, but their rookie year is going to have growing pains. I mean, the team's pretty good overall, but you are really setting light on the picks, my dude. All right. J.W. Fields at QB. Had to get him in 1 league. Richardson, Jones, Lance. This is literally your dream quarterback room based off of your mock drafts. ETN, Gibbs, Cook, Penny, Wilson, Denerick Prince, Damian Harris at running back. Pretty solid running back room. Devonta Smith, Pittman, Evans, Sutton, Hodgins, Jefferson. Wide receiver, Johnny Woods, Sam Laporta, Darren Waller, tight end. So let's look at your draft picks. Whew. Third rounder next year, second and third in 2025. So you basically traded up for Devonta Smith. Why does it say that you traded up for Richardson? What happened there? Did you? So I think you originally traded this pick to Cats and then traded back for it to get Richardson. But you ended up trading up for Richardson, Smith, Etienne, Gibbs, Pittman, Lance, Porta, Cook, Tillman, Wilson. Neglected your third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round picks. So, I mean, I think your team can work. I just don't like the fact that Cook and Penny are your flex options. I'd rather at least one of those guys be a wide receiver. Cats says I traded Anthony Richardson, traded him to J-Dubs. J-Dubs said I had CeeDee Lamb. Where's Lamb on the board? The 1.12. That was part of the trade for Richardson. Okay. Interesting strategies out here. But J-Dubs, you're like in every league, so you can kind of mess around with it a bit as well. Shane. Where's Shane's team? Shane? There we go. Derek Carr, Prescott, Levis. You can get through with that. What are your draft picks looking like? 2 firsts next year, 2 seconds, a third, 2 seconds in 2025. So, yeah, I mean, like, you're fine at quarterback. Najee, J.K. Dobbins, Chuba, Warren, Pirine, McKinnon. I mean, I can live with that. Zach Evans, Izzy. I can live with that. I mean, Harrison, Dobbins, Akers. You're good there. Godwin, Hollywood, Deontay, Burks. All solid. Rashee Rice, Juju, Randall Robinson, Zay Flowers. Did I say Rashee Rice? I like all these names. Marvin Mims. Yeah. Tight end, you got Irv Smith and Hawkinson. Yeah, I mean, draft picks look pretty good here. 2 first rounders next year, 2 second rounders, and you kept your third. 2 second rounders, 2025. So, yeah, quarterback could be better. I'd like to see another wide receiver in your starting lineup over Akers. But all in all, you have good pieces on your bench, I think. Zay Flowers could easily be in your starting lineup. Rice, Juju, Robinson. So, this draft was just insane. Just insane. All right, Emil. Emil, no trades. No trades. Goff at QB. Stafford and Darnold. Yeah, QB got a little scary for some of you guys out here, man. I mean, you're going to be drafting a quarterback sooner rather than later. Whoa. Maybe there was a trade. I guess there was. Well, wait, why are you missing a pick? It says you don't have a 2024 second, and was there? There had to be a trade. There's a trade after the draft. I don't remember what it was though. Anyways, let's see running backs: Chubb, Henry, Pierce, Brian Robinson, Mostart, Herbert. I mean, running backs are fine. J.J. Diggs, Ridley, Thielen, Lockett, Jones, MBS, Davis, Mooney. Tight ends, we have Kelsey, Higbee. There's no taxi squad players. Emil, you got to figure that out. But this is a win now team for sure. And Emil, I traded for Ridley. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, you'll have to figure out one way or another how to acquire 3 players off the waiver, drop 3 guys, put them on your taxi. You might as well do it, or trade 3 players, whatever. Whatever you have to do, but hopefully you get some youth. But I do think you have a shot to you're going to compete right away. Hopefully, team's got to stay healthy. Stafford in the super flex spot. Long-term quarterback's probably the biggest issue. Goff's a little bit older than you'd think. He's 28. Staph infection's 35. He's old. But you at least have a first next year. So, things go south. You have to hold on to that. But Chubb, Henry, J.J. Diggs, Ridley, Kelsey, Pierce, Brian Robinson, Lockett, Mooney, and even Jones, MVS, Davis, Herbert, maybe most starter Thielen to a degree, Higbee. You have some pieces here to compete right away, for sure. For sure. How do you feel about it, man? Walido. All right, Lamar Jackson at QB with Jordan Love, the Brisket, and Sam Howell. I can live with that quarterback room. Stevenson, Sanders at running back with Gibson, Zeke, Kendre Miller, McBride. I'm completely fine with that running back room, actually. Wait, is this Taylor's team? Is this really your team? Oh, it is. All right, let's do Taylor's team first. Let's do Taylor's team first, since we're already here and going over it. So yeah, running backs look fine to me. Quarterback I can definitely live with. But you're starting Lamar, and you have Love or Howell. You have Howell's backup for now if it doesn't work out. A.J. Brown, Judy, Elijah Moore, Allen Lazard. I like a team with Allen Lazard on it. Allen Robinson, DJ Chark, Nico Collins, Alec Pierce. Okay, starting wide receivers, Brown, Judy, Elijah Moore, Lazard, I like. Robinson, Chark, Nico Collins, Pierce all have their place, but question marks around some of those guys for sure. Fant and Conquo. Mark Andrews. I like your tight ends. Look at all your Minnesota running backs. Okay. I like this team. Wide receivers, my least favorite part. Brown, Judy, Moore are fine. I like Lazard as a flex option, but I just think your depth on your bench a little worrisome. But other than that, the team looks good, man. You have a first rounder next year. You have all your picks next year, all your picks the following year. So, yeah. I'm okay with this team. Just wide receiver is going to be important to monitor over the next year or two. Pretty good squad. All right, now let's actually look at Walido's team. Gino, Ritter, McCoy, Kyler. Yeah, this is one of those teams where quarterback was a little scary. But Kyler's back doing his thing with Gino. Hopefully Ritter works out. You could be in a good situation. Pollard, Connor, Eric Gray, Singletary, A.J. Dillon. Okay. Rodriguez on the taxi squad. I like this running back room. It's fine to me. I'm going to put a lot of value in running back. You guys know that. Chase, Wilson, Debo. That's good. Keenan Allen, Hopkins. You're a little win now at wide receiver outside of Chase and Wilson, but could be scary for the next year or so. Especially the next year, I think. You got Westbrook Akeem, Rondell Moore, you got Puka, you got Tank Dell, you got Perry. You got pretty good wide receivers. I think wide receivers actually okay. Tight ends, you got Cade Otton, Washington, and Evan Ingram. I don't really mind your team, Walido. You just need Ritter or Kyler to be healthy. Like I said, a little win now, but I think there's enough pieces here. I mean, you got 2 first-rounders next year, 2 second-rounders, no third-rounder, but I don't really care. So you have 2 firsts and 2 seconds. You have all your picks in 2025. So, you know, quarterback's the biggest issue here, but I think outside of that, you have some pretty good foundational pieces for sure. Taylor Gang, I already went over your team. I went through all of League 1 in the exact order. Now I'm going through all of League 2. So you guys might have to skip around. Alrighty. Bossman Fat. I will only call you by your original YouTube name. All right, Deshaun Watson at quarterback. Danny Dimes. You've got your first and second next year, first and second and third the following year. Okay. I mean, Watson and Jones are fine. You have Hendon Hooker sneaking around here as well. I like to see a third quarterback somewhere. Bijan Mixon, Algier, Pierre Strong, Jamal Williams, Tajay Spears. I think all the guys on your bench are fine, but some of those guys are going to end up in the taxi squad. Bijan, beautiful. Mixon, you're really going to need to step up, right? Kind of a low-end RB2. Wide receivers, DJ Moore, Mike Williams, Kirk, Cooks, Dotson. And your wide receivers are fine. You got Renfro on the bench with Mechie, Thornton. Okay. Goddard at tight end. Your wide receiver depth isn't great, but likely Kincaid, Goddard at tight end. Tight ends look pretty solid, man. Yeah, I think this team could compete right away, but it has enough foundational. I mean, Watson, Bijan, DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, Mike Williams, those guys can stay healthy. Mike Williams is the biggest question mark. Dotson I like a lot. Goddard's a good piece for now. You know, likely could be a really good piece for you with Kincaid over time. Bench isn't bad. I just don't know. You know, some of these guys are really going to have to prove themselves is all. So, I think this team's okay, yeah. Wide receiver depth over time. Running back depth over time, my 2 concerns at the moment. Can definitely fix those things. So. All right. We got one more team to go over. And it's my team. Okay, so you guys saw the first team that I did. Sorry, I have an odd itch on my shoulder. And league number 1 was a win-now team, not a lot of picks left. This team's kind of the opposite here in league number 2. So what I was going for at least. Okay, so I have my first rounder next year. I have my second. I have 3 third rounders. I have all my 2025 picks. That's good. Okay, much younger team overall. Joe Burrow at quarterback with Aaron Rodgers and Brock Purdy. Yes, Rodgers is old, I get it. But like I said, this was a heavy quarterback draft. When I was at the 7.9, it was Rodgers, Carr, Lance, Purdy, Jones, Stafford, Howe, Ritter. Those were my options. I took Rodgers. I was happy I got Purdy. Some people would say for like a young team, maybe I should have gone like Lance, then Jones, Lance, then Purdy, Purdy, then Howe. I don't know, but I just took Rodgers. I'm fine with it. He'll be a placeholder for now. Eckler, Pacheco at running back. Yes, Eckler's old, but once again, Eckler at the 5.9 I thought was a really good value. I was not going to pass him up. Really, the way I started this draft was like, yes, I'd like to stay young, but I was also just taking like who I thought was the best available player for the first couple rounds, and I was not going to pass up Eckler there. Eckler, Pacheco, A-Chain, Kenneth Gainwell, Zamir White, Chase Brown. Those are my running backs. I also have Bailey Zappi on this team, in case that matters to somebody out there. Chris Olave at wide receiver with Christian Watson, JSN, Brandon Ayuk, McCole Hardman, DPJ, Terrace Marshall, Josh Downs. My wide receivers, I've also got Charlie Jones and Justin Shorter on my taxi squad. Trey McBride. I really wanted Trey McBride in the league, so I got him. Taysom Hill, I had to pick one old guy, into the draft. I had to get Aaron Rodgers and Eckler some company, so I got Taysom Hill. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with this team, actually, because I do feel like this team can compete, but doesn't have to, win a championship. And I think this is a team that has enough foundational pieces that over time this can be a very successful team. Burrow, Eckler, Pacheco, Olave, Watson, JSN, Kmet, Ayuk, A-Chain, even Purdy. I like all those guys as foundational pieces, and I feel like Trey McBride, Josh Downs, maybe Chase Brown could all be pieces that could come into the mix. And I got Kenneth Gainwell on the team as well. So that made me happy. So yeah, very different strategy than Team 1, or League 1, I should say. But I felt like ultimately I was pretty happy with both my teams. Very, very different strategy. So okay, there's your team reviews for our Superflex Dynasty Leagues number 1 and number 2. J-Dubs, I don't know who my favorite teams are. There's too much information to process. I don't know. And way too many strategies that went on. It'd be very hard to narrow it down to favorite team in each league. Prey, hello. It is good to see you, Prey. How are you doing, friend? Prey, our fondest friend of the channel, our longest friend. Yeet Man, do you guys believe Madison can be a top 10 back or close to it? Maybe close. Maybe top 12 or 15 this year. But where his ADP is falling, I'm just not quite there on going out and getting him. Also, saw your question earlier. Friend gave me a challenge to draft 25 ESPN fantasy teams. Feel like I'm cleaning up. T-Law, Bijan Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Olave, Goddard, Watson. I mean, yes, that team is very good. But did you draft that team, or are you mocking that team? I don't know if, unless it's like an 8 team or maybe 10 team, I don't know if you're going to actually be able to draft that team. Smokey, you are certainly welcome. It definitely has been a lot of work to get all the Dynasty leagues put together, but it's been a lot of fun. It's going to continue to be a lot of fun over the years, so I'm happy to do so, man. J-Dubs, I'm sorry I missed your stack. I saw you call that out earlier in the chat, so I'm sorry, bro. J-Dubs has Michael Pittman and Anthony Richardson on this team. There we go. It's a good stack, baby. Drafting as 12-man, yeah. If you actually drafted that team, then that's very good. Yeah, ESPN always has a whack ADP until like the end of August. So if you're mocking that team, that's one thing. If you've already drafted, then yeah, you're in a good spot, my dude. Wait, Shane got Mahomes and Burrow? What? Oh, in Shane's league? Is that what you're referring to? Talk's got Herbert and Fields. Wow. Good luck. Thank you to Shane for putting together another league within the community and inviting some of the members of the Catch fam to it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there's your stream for the night. We'll do more of these in the future. You guys can just submit your rosters, Dynasty, non-Dynasty, whatever. But you guys have been wanting me to go over the Dynasty drafts for a couple weeks, though. I let the dust settle. I had a lot going on, and we got to it tonight. It was a good stream. Pretty long stream. 2 long streams, 2 nights in a row, guys. Let's go. Feels good. So, if you guys are new to the channel, thank you for being here and helping me become the best fantasy YouTuber of all time by subscribing to this channel. You will not regret it. You will win every fantasy league for the rest of your life from now on. And if you guys did not hit that like button, please do so, because more people will see this stream and enjoy their life more once they see it. If you hit that like button on the way out. Also, we have 13 likes on the stream. That is a bad number. It's unlucky, so make sure you like the stream. Guys, if you're new to the channel, or if you're not new to the channel, links are down below. Join our free Discord, mock drafts, roster reviews, NFL news, cool stuff. Join our free Discord. Follow us on Instagram. That'll just let you know when we have made content. And I will post things about Peyton Manning and other things. So yeah. That's all I got for you guys. I will probably be on throughout the week. We will be mock drafting. We will be doing underdog drafts. And we will be talking fantasy frickin' football, because that's what we do here at The Catch. So, love you guys, man. Love this community. Love The Catch fam. I got to sign off for the night. There's a salute. But thank you so much to those of you guys who are in the Dynasty Leagues. I know it was a little bit stressful at times. The drafts are a little bit intense. You guys get a little bit competitive. I got a little bit stressed here and there. But I'm very, very, very grateful for you guys. And happy to be playing more and more intense fantasy with you guys, and more fantasy overall with you guys. So I really do appreciate you, everything that you guys do for the community and for myself. And that'll wrap it up. Hope you guys enjoyed your roster reviews. Hope it was insightful and helpful. And I will probably talk to you guys tomorrow. So, thank you guys for coming out tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out. And that's going to wrap it up. There's a very long outro for you guys. With that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on The Catch. And